From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, communities in Edo lack clean water as Katsina residents pay 50 naira for 35 litres of water. Senate to debate on court judgment ordering the deletion of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act. Woman arrested in Ogun State for setting her 10-year-old daughter ablaze. And on the foreign scene, no survivors found nearly 36 hours after China plane plunged into the mountainside with 132 people on board. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. In many rural communities across Nigeria, access to good and safe water supply for drinking and domestic uses is a major challenge, as they solely rely on natural or free source of water supply like streams, wells, ponds and rivers, which harbor various bacteria that are harmful to human health and existence. In this special report, Trust TV correspondent Nafisa Bello x-rays the plight of some communities in Edo State as World Water Day is being celebrated today. The report.
This is Ugonoba community in Uwade local government area of Edo State. It is pathetic watching the young and old trekking long distances on daily basis to get water from the only river in the community, situated along the ever-busy Benin Asaba Onisha Road, which poses a great risk to them, particularly the children.
No help for a government hand. From here to our river here, it don't pass 1 mile. I suffer with it. No light. We not get water to drink.
They suffer water well. If you say Pikin may go river, you go there wait, you not dey see water. The water where you go bring, it go be like erosion water, you know they need. We dey suffer water, I beg, may una help us.
The people of Agbede and Aviele in Esaka West local government area of the state are not left out in this hardship. As they say, they rely solely on well water, but during the dry season, most wells dry up, a situation which they also say affects their businesses.
This is our well. Dry season like this, we need to enjoy it because the way is rough. Water not enter the dry during dry season. So
when they give us water, we need water. We go appreciate well. We go happy well.
My name is Salamat. Na Aviele na I dey. We dey in need of water. Water dey suffer us well for Aviele. So we want make government help us. So all those kind of things, only for my business, I dey see water take do am. So do rice now na problem for me. So make government support. They beg me they help us. Good free water I will first exam. It no good. This one to do rice now na problem be. Because somebody they collect all those kind of ones. So government will they beg wanna help us. The water no good. They suffer for water for Aviele for year.
The situation is more touching in communities with magnificent water project structures mounted but have never produced a drop of water. Hence, total dependence on water from rivers, wells, or even rainwater.
The water tank is just there for fancy. Since how many years now? It's getting to over 10 years now. This water tank, they have been here. There's nothing done on it. We are just looking at them. We don't know what to do. The Odionwere have been writing letter to the state government, to Abuja. There's nobody comply. And that's why it is just like that.
Observed on the 22nd March every year by all UN member states, individuals and organizations to create awareness about the importance of potable water to life. World Water Day was first observed in 1993. Nafisa Bello, Trust TV News Benin.
Meanwhile, in Katsina State, a 35-litre jerry can of water, which cost between 10 to 15 naira a few days ago, is now sold between 40 and 15 naira in Katsina metropolis and its environs. As World Water Day is marked, acute water shortage and exorbitant price of fuel are taking their tolls on the poor and other vulnerable groups. Abdullahi Amadi has details of the report.
The epileptic power supply has also affected the generation and distribution of water to many communities in Katsina State, a situation that hampers the general well-being of the people who are mostly low-income earners. Similarly, the interchange road project at Kofar Kaura in Katsina City, upgrading and rehabilitation of Ajiwa Dam, as well as its water works, have also affected greater percentage of supply of water to urban and semi-urban centers. As the saying goes, water is the driving force for all nature and the fuel for all living animals and plants. Some residents of Katsina who decry high cost of water and the absence of pipe-borne water also called for immediate intervention from the government, especially as the month of Ramadan is approaching, to reduce the suffering of the masses. You see, we sell 12 jerrycans of water at 350 to 400 naira because of the proximity from which we supply this water. And that is the problem. And of course, we buy these 12 jerrycans of water at 150 to 200 naira. That's why we sell at 350 to 400 naira. You see, these water vendors sell 12 jerrycans of water 600 naira. And that's why we prefer to come and supply it by ourselves. That is the problem. Some of them will not even listen to you. On their part, people living with disabilities said they are a bit confused as to what to do. Is it struggling for what to eat or spending more money in buying water for drinking and other domestic purposes? I am from Bindao local government area and we are experiencing a very serious shortage of water. We need the support of government to construct additional boreholes for us in our localities. Since the establishment of Ajiwa Dam, we have never experienced this difficulty. We are suffering seriously and we don't know where the problem is coming from. From 2015 to date, Katsina State government says it is committing over 27 billion naira in expansion, upgrading and replacement of some obsolete machines at Ajiwa Water Works, which is 99% completion stage.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's only time. But as far as we are concerned, we finish over the challenges. We identify the problem and we overcome with the challenge more than 50%. So on the additional 18% for the last week is another dimension. So as far as I cannot say the present dead, but very soon, because we are working hard. Yes.
On access to basic water supply services to rural communities who constitute 65 to 70% of Katsina State population, the Executive Director, Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, RUWASA, says the agency has made a tremendous effort in increasing access to improved water supply to 1.6 million people.
Another challenge that we need to strengthen is collaboration and synergy between different stakeholders that are saddled with the responsibility of providing safe water source to the people. If we have effective synergy and collaboration, you will see that duplication in terms of provision of this facility has been reduced to minimum.
The theme for 2022 World Water Day is groundwater, making the invisible visible. Experts say groundwater is a crucial resource that provides almost half of all drinkable water across the world. As such, people must be mindful of its depleted reserves and contamination. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And still on the World Water Day, Nigeria Institute of Water Engineers wants the federal government and relevant authorities or stakeholders to take action towards conservation of groundwater resources. The association's national chairman, Chinyere Igwegbe, made the call at a news conference to commemorate the 2022 World Water Day in Abuja. The theme for the 2022 celebration is tagged Groundwater, Making the Invisible Visible, with emphasis on environmental, social and economic value of water.
Groundwater may be out of sight, but its impact is visible everywhere. It provides almost half of all drinking water worldwide, about 40% of water for irrigation, about 1/3 of water is required for the industry to sustain the ecosystem, maintain the river-based flows, prevent land subsidence, and sea water intrusion, etc. This vast potential of groundwater and the need to manage the sustainability can no longer be overlooked. It should be rescued from mismanagement and vulnerability to pollution and depletion. Therefore, groundwater must be thoroughly explored, analyzed, monitored, and regulated. In preventing water scarcity, a lot of research needs to be carried out with possible solution through technological innovations and nature-based solutions. The responsibility lies on the government, relevant institutions, private partners, NGO and CBOs, and also individuals in taking actions toward conservation of this basic resource which gives life to our planet. The achievement of Sustainable Development Goal 6 on water and sanitation for all by 2030 is of paramount focus on this day. This year's theme, groundwater, draws attention to the hidden water resource that has always been critically important but not fully recognized in sustainable development policy making. Under the groundwater, making the invisible visible, this year's campaign will explain and explore groundwater's vital role in water and sanitation systems, in agriculture, industry, ecosystems, and climate change. The overarching message of this campaign is exploring and sustainably using groundwater will be central to surviving and adapting to climate change and meeting the growing population.
And now to legislative matters, where the Nigeria Senate will on Wednesday debate the judgment of High Court ordering the deletion of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act. The upcoming debate is sequel to a point of order raised by Senator Thompson Sekibo, representing Rivers East Senatorial District, on the said matter. The report.
Senator Sekibo, who came under Orders 10 and 11 of the Senate Standing Rule, urged the Parliament to treat the matter with a sense of urgency and debate it immediately. The contested Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act reads that no political appointee at any level shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of any nomination of candidates for election.
Because of a judgment that was delivered in Abia State, I think just last week, that's why I'm coming with this order. I don't have anything against the judge, but Mr. President, the difference, what the man is relying on in his judgment is not the interpretation of the Constitution. The Constitution defines for us who is a civil servant and who is a public servant. It does not include political appointees. It does not. More so, Section 4 gives us the power to make good laws. And in our mind and our mindset, any law we are making here is a good law. Now, Section 228 gives us also the power to make certain laws to guard the independent National Electoral Commission so that it can effectively discharge our function.
This Senate, here and now, look into the issue concerning the ouster, the attempt by the court in Abia State to oust some sections of the bill we just passed into law concerning the issues surrounding the public servants in politics and who want to run elections and all issues thereto. I second it and ask that this Senate discusses here and now.
However, the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ovi Omo Agege, who presided over Tuesday's plenary, suggested the lawmakers delay the debate until Wednesday's legislative session. This is to accommodate the Senate President Ahmed Lawa and other lawmakers who were absent to participate in the debate. Listening to the various contributions Omo Agege resolved to suspend the debate until Wednesday's plenary.
The reason I took this decision is because I want a fuller house. I want a fuller house for this debate because this matter is very, very fundamental, and it will be good to have the input of all senators. And I'm not sure that people had notice. I'm not sure that people were privy to the fact that these discussions will arise this morning. So I think it's in the best interest of this chamber that we give all of our colleagues, or as many of our colleagues as possible, the opportunity to show up tomorrow and make their input. That is the reason for the decision.
Recall that the Federal High Court sitting in Abia State had ordered the Attorney General of the Federation to delete the contentious clause from the body of the Electoral Act 2022. This judgment comes less than 2 weeks after another judge of the Abuja division of the same court, Inyang Ekwo, barred President Buhari, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the National Assembly from tampering with the newly amended Electoral Act 2022.
And persistent bandit attacks on the people of Niger State, north-central Nigeria, caught the attention of the Nigerian Senate on Tuesday. Consequently, the leadership of the Senate wants security agencies in the country to be more proactive in addressing the situation. The report.
Issues of banditry and kidnapping is not new in Nigeria. The question, however, is whether or not the security agencies in the country are equal to the task. The Deputy Senate President, Ovi Omo Agege, following a point of order raised by the Deputy Whip, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, representing Niger North District, asked that agencies in charge of security devise new means of tackling the situation as the old style seemed not working. Rising on Order 42, Senator Abdullahi drew the attention of the Senate to the recent onslaught by bandits in his senatorial district. The lawmaker lamented that the bandits, who came in large numbers from Zamfara State, attacked a police station at Nasco Town in Magama local government area of the state. The divisional police officer, some of his colleagues, and residents were among those killed by the bandits during the attack.
On Monday, 14th of this month, the bandits in large number, riding on motorcycles with sophisticated weapons, left their Zamfara forest, abroad, and came into Niger State through Mariga local government and Rijau local government. As a result of this, they moved in and had a temporary camp in a town called Libale. Libale has a forest, and that forest is contiguous to the ones leading to Zamfara. And having came to Libale, they encamped there in Anaba ward of Magama local government. Mr. President, on Tuesday, they proceeded where they launched a massive attack against a tomato company in Magama local government, that is NASCO.
Responding, the Deputy Senate President, Ovi Omo Agege, commended the quick intervention of security agencies in the area, but noted that a lot still needed to be done against these criminal activities.
I've indicated the route that these bandits are perfected for use in perpetuating these criminal activities. One would have thought that the security agencies will actually do a better job in quarantining that environment. But from your personal explanation, it's also clear that they've done their best. They were not unmindful of that, and they were able to at least come back with a reprisal to take them out. But would have wished that they took a proactive action, and not an action coming after lives have been lost.
The Senate thereafter held a minute silence in honor of those killed by the bandits.
And a mother of 5, Aisha Tijani, has been arrested by police in Ogun State for allegedly setting her daughter ablaze. The police arrested the suspect following a report lodged at the Mowe Divisional Headquarters by one Moruf Ayinde. The police spokesman, Abimbola Oyeyemi, told newsmen in Abeokuta that the complainant told the police that he lives in the same apartment with the suspect, who allegedly set ablaze her 10-year-old daughter because the daughter took a phone she had seized from one of her children from where she kept it and gave it back to the child from whom the phone was taken, which got her mother upset. According to Oyeyemi, the victim is badly burnt and rushed to a hospital from where the authorities referred her to the Olabisi Onabanjo Teaching Hospital for proper medical attention. He said on interrogation, the suspect, who claimed to have been separated from the father of the children, explained to the police that she did not know what came over her when she carried out the wicked act. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, Lanre Bankwale, had ordered the immediate transfer of the suspect to the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department for further investigation. Meanwhile, a suspect was arrested in connection with the killing of an army lieutenant in Efurum, Delta State. Commissioner of Police, Delta State, Muhammad Ali, while parading some suspects at the State Police Headquarters in Asaba, confirmed the arrest to newsmen. The police also said suspects who allegedly killed 4 rival cult members in Jesse, Ethiop West local government area, were also arrested. 43 suspects were paraded for their involvement in cultism, which has become rampant in some parts of the state.
A lieutenant, the ops officer of Nigerian Army based in Warri, was shot at the wee hours of that night, that fateful night, precisely on the 14th or thereabout of this month. And my men, led by the DPO Enere himself, were on patrol along Urobo College Road. And in the course of that patrol, they came across 2 vehicles that were neatly parked off the road. And they came down. When they came down, they saw a young man that was, dead, lying lifeless in the pool of his own blood. And the body was picked to the station. His pocket was searched, an ID card was recovered. Then a call was put across to our sister agency, and in fact they confirmed that he is one Lieutenant M.M. Musa, who was then the ops officer of that brigade or battalion. And what is left now is investigation. In the course of investigation also, I want to inform you that one suspect has been arrested and the command is making efforts with a view to ensuring that his allies, those who partake in that dastardly act, are also arrested and dealt with, so that the dead man will be seen that justice at least is being done. He did not just die like that. The command will not allow that to be swept under the carpet. We are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that those who killed him did not sleep and snore in their houses. We must get to the root. We had a disturbing situation report from Jesse, to be precise, where cultists, or rather where there was supremacy fight between the Arobaga cult group and AA confraternity. And as a result, 4 young men were sent to the great beyond. And indeed, I promise Deltans that the command under my watch will certainly not sleep until justice is done and until those behind these dastardly killings were arrested and brought to book. And to God be the glory, I want to inform you today that we have arrested 3 of the notorious members of Arobaga group that were indeed responsible for this killing.
I be driver. I just go for work. I dey inside room. I dey hear dog. Go. Open the door. Open the door. My own at to us. The next thing I dey hear my mother and my brother they shout. Wait happen. The door they hold. The next thing they say me will come outside. Now I come outside. The next thing I hear the pull out of my hand. Finish.
After then, I was old. Said you was under arrest. Then the other
What are you accusing of?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm not a cultist. I'm a student right now. But I'm just waiting for my NYC call off later. presently. I'm a student of ABU.
And still talking security, police in Ogun parade 15 suspects arrested for crimes ranging from armed robbery, kidnapping to murder. The State Commissioner of Police, Lanre Bankole, who paraded the suspects at the command's headquarters in Abeokuta, the state capital, said they were arrested during various operations across the state. According to him, 5 suspects, Morufo Abiodun, Fisayo Aliu, Usman Adeyemi, Dauda Lekon, and Afiz Adeshino, were arrested on March 16th during a robbery operation along Ogere Road. Bankole said that these operatives also arrested Suleiman Mohammed and Jato Bello for alleged kidnapping of 2 siblings, Esther and David Kende, who were abducted at Ayetoro area of the state. Bankole also said operatives of the command arrested Chidi Samuel and Paul Zakari, co-founders of a Christian fellowship group, Life Builders Network, who had taken about 7 youth to an isolated area in Oyam village via Imala for Bible study and fellowship.
In rescuing a dead hostage, and that is why we always rely on technical aid. Our investigation in case of kidnap is to rely on technology, and when we find out that the hostage is out of danger, that is when we make an onslaught on the kidnappers. I cannot categorically confirm or deny that ransom are paid, but I can say that this is not to the knowledge of the police. The command wants to reiterate its commitment to ensuring adequate security of life and property. We will leave no stone unturned in ridding the state of crime and criminality. This is a promise we made to the good people of Ogun State, and this is a promise that we ensure that we keep.
So we came here for evangelism and the training program. So at around October last year. So unfortunately we got sick, and one of the girls that we came with died. After trying to save her, we couldn't. So she died in that place. And the mistake that we did was to bury her there before contacting her parents. That's what brought us here.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, soap and detergent company responds to allegations against it. This and more after the break. You stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. Now look at our top stories. The plight of some communities in Edo State who lack access to clean water as World Water Day is being celebrated today. And Senate will on Wednesday debate the ruling of a federal high court in Abia State, which nullified the controversial Section 84, subsection 12 of the amended Electoral Act. Now moving on to other stories, Osun State Health Insurance says any hospital that fails to render adequate and standard healthcare service to enrollees will be sanctioned. Chairman of the agency, Adeoye Adelekun, said this while reacting to complaints that enrollees are not treated well in some of the health facilities enlisted in the scheme. Established by law, passed by the Osun State House of Assembly on the 30th of October 2018 and assented to by the Governor, Rauf Agbregbesola, on the 20th of November 2018, the Osun Health Insurance Scheme gives enrollees access to healthcare at various health facilities. Current total number of beneficiaries is 206,659. However, a major concern is that some of the health facilities treat enrollees poorly. Speaking with journalists at the Osun NUJ Correspondent Chapel in Osogbo, Adelakun said the mechanisms have been put in place to ensure quality service delivery and monitor the hospitals. The then State Governor, Aregbesola Oyetola, is compassionate about the scheme, and he vowed that any hospital that does not treat the enrollees well will be sanctioned appropriately.
Trans agency stands for quality, and that is the essence of our having a directorate of quality assurance. We will not in any way tolerate any of the healthcare facilities mistreating our patients, our enrollees, because they are the soul and mind of our program. As far as possible, we are ready to deal and invoke all the spirit of the law against such facilities. They applied to be part and parcel of the scheme, and they add conditions that they should stand by in being a part of the system. We will not expect them to go below the standard that we have set. And as much as possible, we do not take kindly to any health facility that will mistreat our enrollees, and we want the best for all of them.
The impact of the scheme has been tremendous on the people of Osun State. Since we started giving service 2 years and 3 months ago, a lot of people, 206,000 plus people, have had to pay very little or nothing as out-of-pocket expenditure for healthcare, therefore allowing people to use their money on many other things other than healthcare, because with the payment of a very little premium, that is 12,066 naira premium per individual per year, the people have had access to good quality healthcare services round the year. And this would not have been possible but for the acceptance of the scheme, particularly by the labor force in the state, who agreed that every public servant should be enrolled on the scheme. And these public servants enrolled on the scheme, we already have over 89,000, both dependents and the principals, in the formal sector that have enrolled in the scheme.
A soap and detergent manufacturing company in Kano has responded to accusations by farming communities around 3 local government areas of Gezawa, Nasarawa and Ungogo that the company is responsible for contamination of the water channel they use for various agricultural activities. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibran earlier reported that the villagers said even animals die from drinking the contaminated water. His report.
This area is called Saunakwara, a village in Gezawa local government area of Kano State. The people here are Fulani herdsmen who are also involved in subsistence agriculture and a large-scale stone crushing activities. Prior to the establishment of this soap manufacturing company in Kano, these running water channels remain vital in sustaining their primary occupation of cattle rearing and irrigation farming. But that has changed due to a chemically contaminated water pouring from this factory. This is from where this contaminated water used to gather. Then from here, it's finally made its way into the villages down there. And according to the people living in these villages, this problem has been on for several years, and it has led to so many losses. So many animals were killed, and that there is nothing surviving inside this water. In fact, they said even if human beings uses this water, definitely he might not survive it. So they are calling on the authority, especially the company which is called Aspira, to come to their aid, at least to provide another way to channel this water through other ways so that it can stop coming down to this community. They said they cannot do irrigation farming, and that their animals cannot drink this water as well.
This
water is coming from a company called Aspira, but even before the establishment of Aspira, the water channel is still here and the water is passing. But Aspira is using the water channel to pour in their own water, which is also passing, which has contaminated the one that we have here.
It cannot kill animals, because these are things that we always keep on using it. And in the drainage system, the last area where it actually been washed, it normally pass through the waterways. And these waterways are linked waterways. Some of the waterways come from Chalawa, some pass through Sasunusi, that is the main outlet off to the Minjibir site. And we are not the only people that are actually using the water waste. This is actually something that is being designed by the governments.
For quite some time now, several of these farming communities across 3 local government areas of Gezawa, Nasarawa and Ungogu were forced to stop their usual irrigation farming. Fishing, which used to be another important source of revenue, was also halted, and their animal can no longer drink from here. A problem they say is threatening not only their agricultural economy or the environment, but also their chance of continued survival here. The problem of this waste detergent water is too much. We cannot use it to bath. We can't do irrigation with it. And if our animals drink it, they die. This has brought us so many losses. I have lost about 8 cows, because initially I had 3 and they all delivered, but later died after drinking this water. Therefore, what is our purpose if we cannot feed our animals in our own home?
The government of the federation, they have made it in such a way that every farmer should confirm his animal in one place for grazing, not to be moving about with them from one place to another. You understand? So as a result of that, the industries have every right to now discharge what is actually the final waste into the stream that is meant for the discharge to pass.
According to the management of Aspira Nigeria Limited, so far they do not have any waste detergent pouring from their factory, and that for years they have remained committed to protecting the interests of their host communities.
We don't have what is called waste detergent. All our detergent are things that we normally recycle it. As part of social responsibilities, we are playing a bigger role that I don't think there's any company that is also playing such, like in terms of school rehabilitation and provision of learning facilities like decks, and also conducive atmosphere for learning. I think we are the first company that are doing this in this company.
For now, these people say they are still waiting for authorities to come to their aid for a continued survival of their rural economy. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And now to politics, where 19,000 members of the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Madagali local government of Adamawa State defected to the All Progressive Congress, APC. Chairman, APC Adamawa State, Ibrahim Bilal, while receiving the defectors led by Chubado Tijani, former Chief of Staff to former Governor Balangilari, expressed confidence of the party defeating incumbent Governor Ahmed Fintiri in the 2023 elections. The report.
Madagali, the local government headquarters where the incumbent governor Ahmadu Fintiri hails from,
is rolling out the red carpet. The occasion is the welcoming of some prominent politicians from the council, defecting from the ruling People's Democratic Party in Adamawa to the opposition All Progressive Congress ahead of the 2023 general elections. Chubado Babi Tijani, 2 times council chairman for Madagali local government and 1-time chief of staff to former Governor James Inglari, together with 19,000 other members from the PDP, cross-carpet into the APC, are formally being welcomed into the party. The grounds of the defectors is over complaints of alleged marginalization.
This is a signal that the APC is ready and has started the journey of taking over Adamawa Government House in 2023 from Madagali local government.
Invested so much in the PDP, but we are not recognized. Therefore, we decided to, shift our base from the PDP to APC. And we can be assured that PDP is dead forever.
But some critical stakeholders of the PDP in Madagali, reacting to Chubado's defection, give a completely different view.
Let me also bring to your notice that the person in question willingly refused to support his own brother, Ahmadu Umar Fintri, during the 2019 general election, which as a party regard it as an act of envy.
Chubado also cleared the air on his membership of the PDP before his defection and the followership he commands in Madagali.
That if they say I have not been a member of PDP, in which political party was I chairman? This question should have gone to them. But let me help them in answering it. I was elected under the platform of the PDP. I was deputy Algon here in the state. I was there as chairman for 4 years, I cannot say I was given appointment on the platform of PDP as chief of staff. Chief of staff is a personal aide to the governor. But of course you all know that if a PDP governor is in place, he will not employ an opposition to be his chief of staff. This is very clear.
You follow us?
Well, from what we had on the ground and the list they have, is about 19,600 or so followers that left. You saw it yourself.
The secretary of the Adamawa State chapter of the APC believed that the gale of defection may affect the re-election of Governor Fintri come 2023.
The kind of person he is and the number of followership that he commands, it tells of what 2023 is likely to look like. So far, we're already prepared. We're ready to take up the government, and by the time we are getting dignitaries like this month coming to our fore, it's equipping us better so that we are now sure that 2023, the governorship of Adamawa State is ours to take.
Meanwhile, Secretary to the Katsina State Government, Dr. Mustafa Inuwa, said he left 1.7 billion naira in the ministry's account when he finished his tenure as Commissioner of Education under the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. He said this while sharing experiences as a public servant and as a politician when he visited Katsina State House of Assembly to inform them on his desire to contest the 2023 governorship election. Similarly, NNPP has conducted its party congress to select new party leaders for the next 4 years. Jamil Mabai has details.
The Secretary to the Katsina State Government, Dr. Mustafa Inuwa, has commended the good working relationship between the executive and legislature in the state. He disclosed this when he visited the State House of Assembly to inform them on his intention to join the race for gubernatorial position and solicit their support. He highlighted the relevance and role of state assembly members in politics and governance. The second most important thing is after party's office is to visit the State House of Assembly based on 3 reasons. Politically, whoever is contesting for the office of the governor must carry you along. He shared his vast experience with assembly members, right from primary school I was the headmaster, I taught at secondary school and lectured at the university for 15 years. I was the first APC party chairman in Katsina State. I served as the General Manager, Transport Authority, as Damusa Local Government Caretaker Chairman. I served as Commissioner for Education as Secretary to the State Government under the late Malam Umaru. He added that it was in the history books. During his time as Commissioner for Education, he left 1.7 billion naira, which has never been done in the history of Katsina. Go and find out. After I left the Ministry of Education, my successor inherited 1.7 billion naira in the ministry's account, not state account. The Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Tasi Umaigari, said Dr. Mustafa is the first person to visit the House to solicit their support. Similarly, NNPP in Katsina State has conducted party congress that will usher in new party leaders in the state through consensus arrangements. Dr. Sani Umar Kankia, the incoming secretary of the party, told newsmen on how the congress was planned.
Congresses in which the party will be electing 8 new officials that will run the affairs of this party for the period of 4 years. And consensus, anyway. That consensus is agreeable by all the stakeholders and members of our party. And we now agreed to zone the chairmanship of this party to Katsina Central.
Hadi Maidawa was the interim party chairman. Said they joined the party based on its ideals. He equally maintained that they believe in their founder, Dr. Rabi'u Musa Kwankwaso, an activist and a nationalist. Part of the party members are renowned PDP members in the state. Jamila Mabai, Trust TV News, Katsina.
Broadcast media practitioners have converged on Abuja to chart a new course for the industry ahead of digital switchover from analog. Public and private stations meet at the Broadcast and Digital Media Convention 2022. The report.
The convention attracts television and radio stations as well as broadcast content producers from all over the country. Director General National Broadcasting Commission NBC Shehu Lela advised stations against breach of the NBC Code during political coverage of the 2023 elections. Lela warns that NBC would not hesitate to sanction any broadcast station violating the law.
I urge all broadcast stations, they must be used, or they must allow their platform to be used, and must not allow it to be used as a tool of sabotage. I urge the broadcast license must be used as a tool of enhancing democratic gains for peace, not blackmail.
Minister of Information and Culture, represented by Adebayo Shitu, said the broadcasting ecosystem will benefit from the digital media convergence.
The benefits of digitization to the industry players and the public at large are numerous. The global economic indices have continued to signal that we have to double our efforts in achieving successful digital migration. At this junction, I want to commend the efforts of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria in partnering with the NPC and other major stakeholders in ensuring digital migration that will be beneficial to the Nigerian public.
Chairman of Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, and Chief Executive Officer MultiChoice Nigeria, John Ugbe, speaks on the convention.
Well, it's just the frequencies that are being allocated to 5G. There is some interference for broadcast stations, especially C-band and some of the other equipment in the broadcast industry. So we're calling on the government and the Broadcasting Commission to look very critically at this, because you do not want to interrupt broadcasts on air. So it's important that this is taken into consideration during the allocation of frequencies.
The benefit is very wide-ranging. Wide-ranging in the sense that today you hear of YouTube, tomorrow you hear of Twitter, and next tomorrow you hear of Instagram and other platforms. The platforms are being multiplied by the day. Even some Nigerians have started their own startup, what they call the fintech startup. So you never know what comes up the next day. So it's only through such convention we have today that you have to get knowledge of a new channel of broadcast, digital broadcasting.
Attract television and radio stations as well as broadcast content producers from all over the country. The Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Shehu Lela, advised stations against breach of the NBC Code during political coverage of the 2023 elections. Lela warns that NBC will not hesitate to sanction any broadcast station violating the law. The convention will end on Wednesday.
And worried by the rising inflation, House of Representatives wants the Central Bank of Nigeria to reinforce the use of coins as a legal tender and ensure that banks comply with the use of coins to the fullest. This followed a point of order by Muda Umar on Tuesday in plenary, who noted that in 2007, as part of the economic reforms under the then governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Sanusi Lamido, 50 naira, 20 naira and 10 naira and 5 naira banknotes were reissued with new designs, as well as coining of 1 naira and 50 kobo, while a new 2 naira coin was introduced. The lawmaker also noted that despite the huge budgetary sum that is expended by the federal government in the production of coins as part of the legal tender, the said coins are now extinct. He is worried that while other countries make use of coins for their daily financial transactions, Nigerian coins comprising the 50 kobo, 1 naira and 2 naira have not been fully utilized in that regard.
Have been significantly affected as the lack of coins and other legal denominations have resulted in prices being summed up to the nearest naira equivalent a situation that can best be described as inflation in economic terms. The House worried that while other countries make use of coins for their daily financial transactions, the Nigerian coins comprising 50 kobo, 1 naira, 2 naira have not been fully utilized in that regard. The House believes that injecting lower denominations and coins into the economy will go a long way in curbing price inflation and stabilizing the economy.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday said Dangote Group is the second largest employer of labor in Nigeria after the federal government. The president stated this in Lagos when he commissioned the 3 million metric tons capacity Dangote fertilizer plant built at the cost of $2.5 billion, which is located at Ibeju Lekki. It's built on 500 hectares of land. Speaking at the event, Buhari noted that the fertilizer company is already exporting its products to other countries, including the United States, Mexico, India and Brazil, adding that the contributions of Dangote Industries have further reaffirmed Nigeria's leadership in Africa. In his welcome address, President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, said that the plant being commissioned is the largest granulated urea plant in Africa and the second largest in the world. The Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee meeting on Monday has been generating comments from business and financial analysts on retention of its previous parameters. The MPC meeting, headed by CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, decided to keep all parameters constant, leaving the benchmark interest rate at 11.50%, cash reserve ratio at 27.50%, and liquidity ratio at 30%. Chamun Dabeng speaks to economist Dr. Emeka Okwingu on this.
Amidst inflationary fears, the high cost of energy, and keeping in mind Nigeria's fragile economic state, the Monetary Policy Committee once again made the decision to keep all parameters constant. How will this decision impact the country's economy?
Before we get to that point of keeping the parameters, as it were, it wasn't all of them anyway. I think it was just out of 10 of them that attended, I think 3 voted, for it to be changed. By 25 basic points. I think 1 voted for it to be increased to 50. So technically it was 6 of them that voted for all parameters to be, kept as they were. But before then, a lot of considerations were put on the table, okay? And 3 of them I think should worry us, right? The first is, of course, the usual thing that I've talked about, the COVID context that refused to go away. The second is the commodity markets. Russia and Ukraine, global commodity market are very key and major players. And then the rising interest rates. This is where it gets interesting, of both the Bank of England and the Bank of America. Now, it is not keeping your CSR, CRR, or at a constant. It's not keeping your MPR as a constant. It is looking at how that impacts on your economy vis-a-vis, again, the release of the MBS, that inflationary rate has risen, albeit slightly. Okay, I think from 15.6 to 15.7. That's not good. And the reasons so adduced even makes it more worrisome. Okay, they were talking about the high energy costs. All right, so I don't want to give you a straight answer. You know, we need to look at all these things that have been brought together. But yes, I think it's a good thing. It's a way to go. It's all about keeping hope alive and then making certain that we're also holding onto the reins, you know, of this white horse that could actually topple the rider, if you may.
International financial organizations.
And now a look at the foreign scene, where Chinese aviation authorities said on Tuesday they had found no survivors so far from a crashed China Eastern jet nearly 36 hours after it plunged into a mountainside with 132 people on board. Director of the Aviation Safety Office at China's Aviation Authority, Zhu Dao, said up till now, search and rescue work has not found any survivors, raising fears of the passengers dying in the air disaster. Parts of the Boeing 737-800 jet were strewn across mountain slopes, charred by fire, after China's first crash involving a commercial jetliner since 2010. Burnt remains of identity cards, purses and wallets were also seen. Reports say flight MU5735 was en route from the southwestern city of Kunming, capital of the Yunnan province, to Guangzhou in Guangdong province, bordering Hong Kong, when it suddenly plunged from cruising altitude at about the time when it would normally start to descend ahead of its landing. The crash comes as Boeing seeks to rebound from the several overlapping crises, including the coronavirus pandemic and crashes involving its 737 MAX model. The cockpit voice recorder could also yield clues to what went wrong once it is found. We will now join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
Organizers of annual Ondo Auto Rally has confirmed 5th edition of multi-event car racing show will be staged between April 16 and 17, 2022 in Akure and Ilaramokin, Ondo State. Group President Adeoye Ojoko says all geopolitical zones in Nigeria have shown interest in the auto race, with over 60 racers from different racing clubs will race at Smoking Hills Golf Resort, Ilaramokin, Ondo State. And in rugby, Nigerian Rugby Football Federation NRFF General Assembly is ongoing in Benin City, Edo State, with discussion on how to get off sanctions from Rugby Africa. NRFF says delegates across Nigeria are ratifying the constitution and seek ways to get Rugby Africa to lift Nigerians' ban from participating in international events. Rugby Africa banned Nigeria from taking part in international competitions following the appointment of caretaker committee to oversee NRFF's affair by Ministry of Youth and Sport Development.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. Don't forget you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.